morning. Happy Wellness Wednesday, everyone. My name is Bryan the Botanist, and today my special guest is Chris Long, a Live Ultimate ambassador and friend of mine who is an entrepreneur and spiritual growth, interested in superfoods. We're going to be talking wellness today with Alive with Chris. I see him joining us right now. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. How's your Wellness Wednesday? How's your week? Good morning, everyone. Chris, good morning.
Bryan, good morning. Good morning. So
Hey.
I started my own live on my channel, and I thought you were joining mine.
Yeah, no, it's okay either way. I mean, normally we start the live because then I don't know if you have an IGTV going, but we have different series, and the host usually starts the live just because then it can live on the host channel, and we will share it with you so you can share it as well. So welcome, everyone. Good morning. My guest is Chris Long, and Alive with Chris is his Instagram. And Chris, how's your Wellness Wednesday starting?
It's good. I got the mushrooms here. I already had mushroom coffee, so I added the ultimate shrooms into my coffee, so having
Nice.
full benefits. So I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited.
Awesome.
And I've been waiting a long time to talk to you on live, so this is exciting for me.
All right, let's jump right into it. I just tagged you in our chat. Alive with Chris is Chris's Instagram. Chris Long is my guest today. Chris is a friend of mine in the last 6 months, and we got to go to lunch together and hang out a couple months ago when he was in Miami Beach. And Chris, where are you currently living?
So I'm in Sarasota, Florida. Just moved here less than a month ago from Colorado. So I've migrated
Wow.
to the United States from California. Spent a year in Colorado, and then transitioned over to Florida. So now I'm closer to the Live Ultimate headquarters. The main mycelium connection is now in Florida. So
Yes. Florida is an evolving and mindful and enlightened place, and it's got so many communities. So it was awesome to have you visit. We went for a nice lunch a couple of weeks ago, and yeah. So how is Sarasota? That's over on the Gulf Coast, right? For those that don't know Florida very well, it's south of Fort Myers.
Yeah, no, north of Fort Myers, south of Tampa.
Okay.
So it's kind of sandwiched between those two international airports and those two hubs. And yeah, it's really a hidden gem. Sarasota is a really kind of a small, big city. Has a lot of boutique art vibes. There's a big spiritual and wellness community here as well that I'm starting to learn about. So it's really a perfect place for me. I don't think I thrive as well in the bigger cities, with more of the kind of the concrete and the craziness. I need a little bit more peace and calm. And Sarasota is definitely a nice balance of that. And it is beautiful. It's right on the water. And so I've really been enjoying it here.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you in Florida. Let's jump into the wellness conversation. You've been a wellness entrepreneur for the last, X amount of years in your career so far. Tell us what got you started. My first question is usually what got you started in wellness? Is it a certain childhood experience or sickness?
Yeah, this is actually a great question that I don't feel like has been asked to me. And I really now have to think about it. Like, why
did you choose wellness? Yeah. Why do you vibe so strongly with it?
Yeah. I mean, and from the simplest fact, I think when you tap into your body, like your physical body, your energetic body, and when you are dealing with the public, you can recognize days that you're off and days that you're on. And I noticed that the more I started to take care of my body and the more I started to put the right ingredients, the more strong my mind was. And so the better that I could really navigate this world. And so I think from getting involved in sales at a younger age, I realized the power of supplements. And then obviously the journey has grown from learning about, which is what we're going to talk about today, what makes different types of products better than others. And so I think early on, I just wanted to be the best version of myself. And I realized that, adding the best natural ingredients on the market was going to allow me to be the healthiest version so that I could operate at the highest level and have the most success.
Absolutely. Yeah. Quality of life, productivity, but also performance, whether it's mental or physical. And sounds like you got started early in your life. Like, have you always been into wellness, like since you were a teenager, or was it more of in your 20s that you got educated?
Yeah, I would say more my 20s. I didn't really eat too well until after college.
Okay.
Which I think feel like most people are on that wavelength, you
Yep.
know. Because you're
But
you're
you're a young man. You're how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 30.
Okay, that's an awesome age.
Yeah, the people
Cool.
I got a baby face, so I
Yeah, I was actually gonna guess mid 20s.
yeah, that's what everyone says, but I
Yeah.
think it's a good thing, honestly,
Yeah.
and I definitely think it's a lot of the products in the wellness that
Yeah.
genetics helps too, but definitely you put the right things in your body, and you're gonna maintain that like youthful look.
Yep,
So
the glow. Yeah, I mean, those who eat, you are what you eat, truly, and your mind is too. But we're going to get into wellness today, and we're going to talk a lot about, So I'm really excited about hearing about your story for your wellness journey. What type of work have you been into in the last, in the last 10 years since you've been, in your,
yeah,
what have you been since college? What have you been doing
yeah,
with your
yeah.
life?
Specifically in like wellness or just in general?
Well, you can talk about the evolution into wellness. Otherwise, if you want to start with where the wellness journey has taken you in the last couple of years, I just want to get to have the audience get to know you a little bit, your background,
Sure, sure,
what
sure.
support, what things you offer the community.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like most people, I think I graduated college without really like an idea of what to do, and so I jumped into a sales position where I was selling direct TV in Costco. We've probably seen those people, and it was like really challenging, but I really got to learn, how to hear no and how to like pitch people and pitch strangers and ask them for things. So although I wasn't passionate about direct TV, there was a lot of core skills
Okay.
and that was at a young age at 23, and I was good at it, and so I got to run my own firm. So I got to like hire salespeople, fire people, a lot, and that was like
Whoa.
not fun, but doing
Yeah.
that at a young age and managing people and like running sales meetings at like
Uh-huh.
23, and then managing like multiple people and people that were like way older than me. I think that was like I hated it. It was like miserable. Like I didn't make a lot of money, and I worked like 80 hours a week, and I think it's all about the evolution. So that was the starting point. Wasn't
Okay.
very
Right out of college.
wasn't very fun, but I
Yeah.
learned a lot. And then I was like, okay, now I realize I maybe don't want to do that. I want to do something else, or
Hmm.
I want to work with something that I'm passionate about. And so I kind of wanted a more traditional job, which I realized I'm more of an entrepreneur, but I was like, let me try a traditional job. So I started selling car insurance at a car dealership. So every time someone would buy a car, I would sit there and pitch insurance. This is an intangible product, and no one likes insurance. So I went from like two things that were not really things that fit my soul
You weren't passionate about them. Yeah.
at all. But I was like, okay, that was a traditional job, like a 9 to 5. And I was like, okay, I don't really like 9 to 5. I don't like being told I got to be at work at a certain time, leave at a certain time. So let's see. I did like a bunch of kind of random things, and then I actually found the company that I'm with now that I do on the side of Live Ultimate, and that's a company called Hattori Hanzo. And
Okay.
I'm not necessarily passionate about shears. Hattori Hanzo's from Kill Bill, and I sell these
Ah,
Japanese shears to all these hairstylists. So I travel around, and the beauty about that is I get to set my own schedule, set my own hours, and earn commission. So I don't feel like in America, oftentimes we're paid for on an hourly basis, but our worth could be a lot higher. So I have gravitated towards like sales because the harder I work or the better I do, the more I can make, and I can dictate my paycheck a little bit more. So although I'm not necessarily passionate about the beauty industry, what I was passionate about, and the reason why I first got involved was that people in the hair industry love what they do. And I think, there's stats out there and polls of America, whereas like 80% of people would like to quit their job. So what I noticed in the beauty industry and the hairstylist world was that they were entrepreneurs, they loved what they did. And so I knew that that would be a good energy exchange, because I knew that if I'm dealing with these people that love their job as hairstylists, then it's going to be a good environment for me. And it gave me a lot
absolutely.
of freedom to pursue all these other wellness avenues. So I knew that I had a
That's cool.
paycheck and freedom. And I was doing that for a couple of years. And I walked into a hair salon, and these two individuals that were speaking my language, they started talking about personal development and spirituality. And they said, hey, if you'd like to come, learn about this company that we do, you can add it to your stream of income and your portfolios of things that you already do. It's not going to interfere with what you already do. And that moment was the catalyst for eventually finding Live Ultimate, because these individuals were part of a company known as Univera.
Okay.
Univera has the largest. There's still a company today. It's not in the network marketing space, but they have the largest medicinal plant library on the world. So they had over
Wow.
14,000 medicinal plants, and they were applying pharmaceutical science to plants. And so they came out with a lot of products, and they were actually the biggest source of aloe vera. So that was sort of the entrance into my gut health journey, because I realized how I started learning about how important the gut was and how it was our second brain, and the aloe was really soothing for the gut. And I think a lot of people know aloe, so that's
I've
something.
taken aloe a bunch, yeah,
Nice.
internally for
Yeah,
stomach issues. This
awesome.
was a long time ago, but I used to really use aloe vera a lot and
It
peel
works
it and
really well. It works really well.
raw solutions, like different types of ways to take it. Yeah, it's a great herb.
Yeah. So I started there. Now, Univera was great. I did it for 2 years. Their packaging, though, not to throw them under the bus, but this is just the truth. It's an evolution. We learn a little bit more about what's better and what's maybe shouldn't be included in products. And so they were great, but they used plastic. There was a couple fillers and extra ingredients in there that kind of turned people off. And when I was speaking to high level people and I was introducing them to, like, say, the aloe, there was a couple preservatives in there as well. And I think people really want, these days, they don't want any. If you can't understand the label and there's something, that's a sign that you don't want to take it. And so there was a few things like microplastics where they were capsules, whereas Live Ultimate, we don't do any of that stuff. So I started to learn with that company, just a little bit about how they could improve. And I was like searching for Live Ultimate the whole time. And so I spent 2 years with them, and it was great. It was a great learning experience. And then, the story about how I got.
Yeah. How did you meet us?
Yeah, yeah. It was so Daria, it's a crazy synchronicity of everything. So Daria, who's an incredible ambassador with Live Ultimate, maybe she's on, maybe she's not, but a lot of people know her. And she
At
moved.
Holistic, it's at Holistic Daria, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So she puts out a lot of amazing.
Daria. Yeah, Daria. Yep, she's been a
Yep.
past guest. Daria Saleh.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to
Mm-hmm.
Daria.
Shout out to Daria. So she moved from Sarasota, Florida, where I live now, all the way to Boulder, Colorado, where I was already living. And we were
Okay.
doing a
I love
yoga.
Boulder, by the way. Shout out to
Yeah,
Boulder, running world
303.
303.
So you're a DJ. I also DJ.
We're gonna
And
talk DJing. Yep.
yeah, and I was at a yoga, breathwork, and DJ event where I was like
Oh,
DJing. They were doing yoga and breathwork. And after the event, we were all like socializing, and Daria's like, "Hey, I work with this company that has mushrooms and superfoods, and if I think you might be interested." And so she just invited me to a presentation,
that's a
and
nice way of low key, giving you the opportunity instead of a hard, you know,
yeah, no, she was great.
awkward,
She might,
interaction.
she might not even have mentioned the mushrooms and superfoods. She might have just been like,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you want to learn about, like?" She might have been like a little bit secretive. She was like, "Hey, do
Yeah.
you want to learn about your gut and health and all this stuff?" And I'm going to give a presentation. And I
Yeah.
always give people the benefit of the doubt. I think so many people are not. They're not open minded.
Yeah.
So, and even if we don't agree with someone, if someone nicely says, "Hey,
Yeah.
Brian, would you mind supporting me or coming to look at this
Sure.
presentation?" You don't
Yeah.
have to join. You don't have to buy anything. But as a friend, if someone takes the courage to ask me, especially from the sales background, because I know what
Yeah.
it's like. So I was just
That's
like,
being vulnerable. You're being vulnerable in that you're asking for support. You're asking for at least their time
yeah,
and their attention. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And that's a very mindful way to do it. That's really nice. So
yeah.
Daria, and I know you've been looking for mushrooms, that the other companies you've been with, and you're passionate about mushroom science. So
Yeah.
she mentioned this company, and then you just checked this out. And
I
did
checked
you
it
try the
out.
products? Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I was doing in between Univera, that other company I was involved with. I joined a stem cell activation company, which
Okay.
which we it has a crystal patch that works on the meridians of the body, and so it
Wow.
activates the stem cells, and it's the only product of its kind. It's very advanced in a sense of, like, sounds
It's
very
like
science fiction,
esoteric. Yeah, kind of
very
like,
esoteric. So
yeah.
some people are like, "What? A crystal patch that activates your
And your
stem cells?"
meridians, you got to explain like the energies and the
Yeah,
chakras and everything. But that's amazing because I've looked into the stem cell industry recently with my girlfriend's car accident. So send I know Paola's on this live. Shout out to Paola Herrera at Paola Health Evolution. Hi, baby. Send her that link because I think she could use that and I could use it too.
Yeah.
I'm curious about learning more because that's the type of thing that I do believe our energies are all they need fine tuning.
Yeah, and you know we have the foundational products that I believe are the nutrition that we're gonna get into now because you
Hmm.
know I felt like that was more of a secondary product, but when I commit to something, I'm already selling scissors, right? And then I'm doing the crystal patch, and then Daria comes in with Live Ultimate, and I'm like, I don't have time, but
By
Aaron,
the way, just a little side note, as a botanist, I've bought in some very high-end shears and scissors for that cost over. I can't remember, but they're highly recommended as the best in the world. They were Japanese, so I
oh
appreciate what you're talking about. Like you need a good pair of, scissors as a hairstylist, but also as a botanist or a gardener or as a horticulturalist, you need, good set of, tools.
yeah,
So,
that's
but yeah,
cool.
keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's funny. It's just like so many
I
things.
would be someone who would be like interested in talking to you, like, oh, how is your, product different than the stuff you get at like Home Depot or something. And
Yeah, yeah, wow, wow. So many synchronicities between us, Brian.
yeah, oh yeah, we could be brothers, to be honest.
We
We are
might
brothers, but we could be blood brothers.
be in the star system, right, of some
Yeah,
galaxy.
from the same wellness corner of the universe. All the wellness energy was populating this part of.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Cool.
But just to kind of just to backtrack, so
Yeah.
I when I was on the call when Daria invited me, Aaron started mentioning about the shrooms, and he's talked about how he wanted to create the new earth and how he wanted to heal the planet. And so it was really through some of his words, not even the products, that I was like, instantly my ears shot up. And I was like, I don't know, even I know the products are good because I've taken them. Daria gave me some mushrooms and they were great. And I love mushrooms. And I knew a lot of the medicinal mushrooms that we're going to go over. And so I was like, I'm in. You know, I don't know if I have time to do this as a business, but I'll buy.
Wow. But you
I'll
just
buy.
vibed with the community so strongly. I know. Shout
Yeah.
out to Aaron, who was leading that call, and Daria. They've been big leaders in the company, and they're just really in touch with, connecting and being authentic and really breaking through, limiting beliefs. And I think Live Ultimate is personal development as much as it is, wellness. It's both. It's wellness and personal development.
Yeah. Yeah. The benefits are endless for anyone that's like not got involved. It's so much
And
more to help.
business too. But the business is part of how you share the superfoods
Yeah.
authentically, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah. So I jumped
Awesome.
in and then I had I think this will lead us into the mushrooms. I didn't have a lot of time to get involved as I was doing the shears and the stem cell patches and, but I was talking about it. I was taking the products every day and I, well, I don't know if we can talk about this, but I had a psilocybin
Sure. Yeah, that's plant medicine.
plant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I
We're not
Colorado.
taking.
In Colorado, where it's actually decriminalized and almost legal, I had a mushroom journey in deep in the mountains. It's on my Instagram where I'm actually on mushrooms, and this is before I really committed to Live Ultimate.
Alive?
I had this journey. It wasn't
That's
alive; it's
amazing.
a video,
It's a
and
video you took. That's awesome, though. I don't
yeah,
think anyone really thinks they can do that, but there's no reason why you can't.
yeah.
Done mindfully, especially, like because, everything's about respect, I know with plant medicine and awesome. So tell us about what this was. What did you say? What did you share?
Well, what was crazy was that I didn't know that how viral the video would go, and that was, I started, I've been with my current girlfriend at the time who's on a reality TV show, so she's got like a lot
Oh,
of.
wow.
So,
I had no idea. You never told me this aspect of your life.
oh yeah,
Your girlfriend's on a reality TV show. Okay. We're going to
yeah,
jump into
well,
that. Yeah.
it's the Siesta Key, which is based in
Oh,
Siesta Key,
yeah.
Florida.
Okay.
So that's a cool part. But my point was that it had like, I don't know how many people saw it, like 500 people. And then somehow like, because she started sharing my profile a little bit and she's got like over 400,000 followers. So
Oh, wow.
it's spilled over. And now I think that video's got over like 30,000, 40,000 views. So many people of the world have now seen me on mushrooms, standing on a rock, talking about crystals. But I think I sounded actually pretty normal. I mean, I
Yeah.
was just really, really happy. And in that trip, I realized how much mushrooms were a catalyst for my evolution and for my health, and not just my physical health, but my spiritual, mental, emotional, everything.
Emotional. Absolutely. Yep.
I realized how much shrooms played a big role in that. In 2019, I did a lot of plant medicine journeys, and I really started to learn the power of mushrooms. And so when I did that, I had this introspection, like, what am I doing? Like these mushrooms, this is what I want to share with the world, you know, mushrooms,
Wow. Yeah.
mushrooms. So it was that moment in time that was when I literally, I got off the call, and I think I got off my video, and I like called Daria, and I was like, let's do this. I'm
Oh,
committed to
wow. So
committed
that
to
was in the same time period you met Daria. That's amazing because that's when you knew wellness was your calling as much as you're always into sales, but that was just being an entrepreneur, which I respect. And I think everyone does, is you get to be your own boss, but you also get to develop yourself better than if you're, not really involved as much as you could be, with a company. When it's your own company, your own life, you have to be disciplined, and it's a lot different than if you're just showing up at, let's say, Trader Joe's and working, as a, checkout person, which is a great opportunity too. But it's like, this is something where you can actually, connect with people at your own pace, and you get to set your own hours, and you can work from anywhere, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm jealous a lot because I work out of Miami Beach, and I would love to travel the world more. I love to travel. So you have an amazing opportunity to travel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do too, right?
Yeah.
Right. You
Oh,
can't.
when I can.
Yeah.
Once my girlfriend's better, we'll travel more. We do local stuff. We're working on getting a garden right now. That's our number one goal, because I live in a bigger city, Miami, and I'm hoping to get a garden soon outside the city in a home. That's my next step.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
wellness.
Florida's got a lot of like farmland. I've realized that I didn't, and it's the biodiversity is so incredible here that you can grow so much here, and you can be near a city,
Yep.
but you can be out.
Yeah, you can have an organic farm here that has 365 days of growing season, which is the beautiful thing about Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. So, joining Live Ultimate, the mushrooms are what brought you really in alignment with us as well as a community. How long have you been with Live Ultimate, and how are things going? What do you anything you noticed that you want to share, or?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I joined without fully the intention of doing the business because I was really busy. Like I think at the early February.
Okay.
So that's been what, like 4 or 5 months. And it's been incredible. I mean, Daria connected me to Chloe, who's my girlfriend, who's, my beautiful divine partner that I love
Shout
very
out
much.
to Chloe. What's her
Yeah.
Instagram?
I think it's just Chloe Troutman.
Chloe Troutman. I've heard that name before. She's a customer or an ambassador, I believe, because
And
that
back.
name is, she's an
Yeah.
ambassador? Okay. Yeah, I've definitely heard that name. Chloe Troutman.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Daria was kindergarten book buddies with her back in Sarasota 20 years ago.
No way.
And they
Really?
hadn't talked for like a long time. And Chloe had a spiritual awakening and her own personal wellness and journey. And
And then you
so
met Daria in Colorado, though, right?
before I met Chloe,
Oh, before you met Chloe. Okay. All right.
yeah. So
Wow. So you
she,
met your girlfriend through Live Ultimate, in a sense, through similar story.
yeah, exactly. So and she's
Cool.
well. So it's been. I mean, that's been incredible, right? I mean, meeting a soulmate, meeting someone who's a beautiful divine partner in your life through a company. I mean, that says it all. So and then in regards, I mean, that's brought so much in my life. I mean, I was able to move here. My company, the scissor company, let me transfer. Live Ultimate's based in Florida. She lived here, so it was just a natural evolution of
Alignment. Yeah.
learning. And so I got to credit the company for that. I mean, and then as far as being able to, earn residual income and help people, I can only sell shears to hairstylists and apparently botanists like yourself. But you can mushrooms, and it's not really about selling, but it's about sharing. And, I can share these mushrooms with anyone in the world because
Sure.
every single person needs them and every single person can
Absolutely.
benefit from them. Not every single person can benefit from $1,000 pair of shears. So for me, it's like, how can I influence and help the most people? And, I think these are a catalyst, which we're going to go over all the health benefits just for people's evolution. And like I said, it's so much more than the health benefits, although I do really want to get into the health benefits, and I know we will on the live. But that's, to me, it's just about who can I impact? And I really can impact anyone with these. And so
That's so true.
that's
Everyone can use super nutrition. Every single person in the world can use super nutrition. And there's so much education to do about nutrition, so much. Everyone should be, and then 2020, they learned they had to get familiar with what does immunity mean and what does immune system mean and what does superfood mean. That was, I think, a big year for wellness because of, the current state of things in the US. See a lot of people joining us. Holistic Daria, we were just talking about you. She's commenting in the comment section. We have Mike DeSorcy, also from Boulder. Hi, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike's been a past guest.
Mike's the man.
Mike is awesome. I know he's doing the 10 Life with my girlfriend Paola, and we have other ambassadors who have been joining us. And thanks everyone for your comments. We have Luis Mesa, Infinite Balance, 9/11, wishes us Grand Rising. Anyone, if you want to ask a question of Chris Long, about wellness or about his what he's living over now in Sarasota. I did a half marathon there at one point, and that's a beautiful city on the Gulf Coast of Florida. So it's about what, 4 hours from Miami? 5 hours?
It is 3 hours. 3 hours and like 15.
Oh, it's only 3 hours. You just cross the state on the Alligator Alley, and then you go north.
Alligator Alley, baby.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff together, including Mushroom Fest. I know I'm hoping to have you come to our next Miami Mushroom Fest and be a big part of it. And so let's jump into mushrooms. What got you super into mushrooms? Is it the brain function? Is it just that it's a superfood? Is it that it's probably the #1 trending superfood in the world, along with CBD, is my understanding, because of movies like Fantastic Fungi and Paul Stamets, and there's just so much research now coming out about the brain. So what made you, what have you experienced too?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned actually part of it, Fantastic Fungi. That was I'd already been really into mushrooms, but that was like a big catalyst for really starting to understand the
And that's
power.
a film. That's a film for those that don't know. So go check it out on Vimeo or.
I'll type it in the chat because everyone should definitely watch this for sure.
I believe we have a code for it too, Chris, if anyone wants to watch it for free, because I think you need to pay for it. So just message one of the people in the chat, like Paola or Holistic Daria or Alive with Chris, message them and get connected with, we can share that movie with you. It'll change your life. It shows you how basically mushrooms are part of the earth and that they're part of the forest ecology, forest health, just like our own bodies. Without mushrooms, the earth would be sick. So I think that's like a really good analogy, is the mushrooms are a different kingdom than us or plants, than animals or plants. And it's here to help the earth in how the forests, trees can't grow without mushrooms. It's a mycorrhizal association in the soil that helps support them and give them nutrients, and they trade things, and it's a evolution. So it's same thing with humans. It's and animals. We were talking last week, Chris, about how mushrooms benefit dogs and cats, and it's proven. And so do superfoods, and just the value of. Tell us more about how you feel about mushrooms, especially.
Yeah. Well, the thing about with this, just because to kind of highlight the ultimate shrooms, is that it has 8 of the most powerful medicinal mushrooms and in the world, and each of them has like a different health benefit. So I don't fully know the specifics of every one of the 8, but there's a few of the main ones that I know a lot about. At least I've learned. And
cool. Let's jump into those. Let's go deep into a couple of the mushroom species.
Yeah, well, like lion's mane, like it looks like a brain and it helps your brain. So I was starting to make these parallels and starting to understand, a lot of what's in nature is almost symbolic and parallel to kind of the health benefits for like the specific, I think, organs of our body, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like whatever they look like, it almost helps. And maybe you can go into
like
more.
Walnuts also help the brain, and walnuts definitely look like a brain.
Yeah.
With their essential fatty acids, their omegas.
Yeah.
Walnuts are well known as a good brain food.
Yeah. And then another one is reishi. I'd studied.
Love reishi.
Yeah, I'd read about Chinese medicine and how they're the the mushroom of immortality. And I'm so big into anti-aging. That's why I'm 16 years old. That's why I'm like I'm
Yeah.
aging in reverse. But reishi is a big part of that. And a lot of these keys to nature. It's almost like recently in society we've gone away from what's worked for thousands and thousands of years, and it's like some of these herbalists from like these Asian cultures. That's why they're in these blue zones of of the world, because they live the longest. And so we just need to follow these specific cultures in these areas of the world where people are living the longest. And reishi was a staple, and so were a lot of these mushrooms. So that was just one, and then cordyceps. I was taking cordyceps prior, and a lot of these things, to me, Live Ultimate simplifies the wellness journey, because a lot of people will buy like a separate cordyceps or a separate lion's mane, or they're buying like a bunch of different things, and it's like there's 8 of the most powerful medicinal mushrooms in here, so we don't need to like jump to all these
Yeah.
other products. They have it all in here.
It's 100% pure blend, I think is a really easy way to, a blend is good. We put together the most sought after mushrooms in the world, 8 of them. A lot of companies do 5 or, mix in some herbs. We want to keep it 100% pure mushroom formula with no preservatives, no flavors, no sugars, no caffeine, just what it is, mushrooms, just pure fruiting bodies. And we didn't talk about fruiting bodies yet either, how a lot of the industry is fake mushrooms basically. And mycelium is good for certain things like clothing and, helps with environmental health. But when it comes to medicine, it's the fruiting body, right? That's where the 50 to 60 times of the beta glucans, and that's where all the goodness is. Why would you use the underground portion when for thousands of years, the Chinese, the Russians, the Europeans have been using the fruiting body, which is what nature intended, not brown rice grown fake mycelium, which is 90% of the mushrooms on the product, and in the industry 90%. So I mean, we're super passionate here about education. I mean, and I know that's part of your mission too, right? To
Absolutely.
educate people, because you
Absolutely.
can go buy some cheap mushrooms on Amazon, but if they're not third-party tested or a guarantee. So did you know about fruiting bodies before? Did you know there was a difference between mycelium? Is that something that made sense to you after watching Fantastic Fungi, or is it Live Ultimate the kind of, because people hear about reishi, but they don't understand. Oh, you can buy the fut. They don't know. Like the mycelium looks like tempeh. The reishi mushroom looks like a glossy red piece of art.
No, I didn't
It's a
know
mushroom. Yeah,
I wasn't aware of that until Live Ultimate, and then I started to like go to the store and see how it'll say that they're grown on like oats. And I mean, I just think people, once it's explained, it's like people will know this forever, right? It's like once
yeah,
you understand that, you can then look at the
yeah,
back of the product and be like, okay, so it's grown on oats. And then think about it. Do mushrooms naturally grow on oats in
no,
nature? That
no,
it doesn't make any sense. So, you can tell why companies are cutting corners and why so many companies are they're just trying to be
yeah.
cost effective, but then they're really not benefiting the customer at all. And, you
It's
know,
one of the biggest trends in the world, and unfortunately, people are taking advantage of it. Was the bottom line. I truly feel they're either taking advantage of it or they're not fully educated themselves, because it's as simple as putting on the bottle, where did your mushroom come from? And then the company should be able to answer to any consumer who's putting this in their body. Do you have third-party reports on the heavy metals? Do you have pesticide reports? Does it have any, was it grown on a wood log, or was it grown on oats or rice? Which when you get that, Chris, you get like 80% of the rice and oats with it. You don't get 100% fruiting body. You don't get any fruiting body. You get oats and fuzz, underground fuzz, which is called mycelium. So it's just like a kind of a almost, until people are aware, they're just operating in ignorant bliss of that. Oh, I'm just buying this reishi product and it's going to help me, instead of like, truly understanding that as one of the hottest superfoods in the world, there's literally companies every day that are, just trying to take advantage of the trends, instead of really caring about people. And, Live Ultimate, to be honest, we created these products for our own bodies first and foremost, but then second, to share with the world unselfishly. Selfishly for our own active lifestyles and our longevity, and unselfishly to share with the world and our friends and family. So why would we give our friends and family, my nephews, my brothers, my cousins, my mom and dad all take all the products, my friends like you, I take them. Why would I create something that's not the best possible version in the world? That's, I think, what Live Ultimate is trying to do, which we are doing. And then our ambassadors creating the best versions of themselves through evolving with us,
yeah, yeah. And
and
it's,
also leading the journey, leading the evolution and the creation journey. Like we have new products coming out, and the ambassadors are helping us a lot with the products and the education, the how we present it, because we have so many, people that are enlightened, and they're all helping. It's like a brain, collective, instead of, a CEO only, or led by some, trust fund that doesn't care about wellness. Really, they just care
yeah.
about money.
Well,
They
people
would
are,
use plastic then. We're using glass packaging, and we talk about earth friendliness in everything we do, Before it was sexy to do that either, or cool.
yeah, yeah. And people are so quick to go buy off Amazon, and I'm not afraid to like I'm not afraid to shun Jeff Bezos. Like, I don't, first of
Yeah.
all, you know, they've put a lot, this is not what this live is about, but they've taken a lot of companies down, a lot of these small family owned businesses, because they can produce the product at a cheaper price. And I don't, I don't feel like we should be supporting those companies. And not to mention, you know, you can buy something and you can get access to all this, right? You could go to the store and you could buy a product. You can go to Amazon and buy a product. You get literally nothing but the product. You get no education. You get no community, you know, and it's not even as good. So
Yep.
like showing people that, you know, we got freaking Bryan the Botanist, you know,
No,
here to
if it
talk
wasn't me, it would be Chris, the cultivist.
the cultivist. There
But
you go.
you are here. You are here. So, I mean, the thing is, yeah, I mean, Mark and I, and Mark's the CEO, you know, we both have loved superfoods for Mark over 20 years. He's in his 50s. And me, I got my botany degree and I was on an organic farm as a teenager. So for me, my whole life has been eating superfoods, but our whole community is surrounded, like every single person in our community is a health coach, is a nutritionist, is a yoga, and, you know, they're really deep into their, you know, enlightened health. And so I think that we all, you know, we're a tribe. And yeah, the standards are high for everyone. We don't want plastic, you know, we don't want, you know, any type of, you know, we want transparency. I think that's a good thing too. Yeah. And we
Yeah.
want value and we want purity and we want, you know, mindfulness, you know, instead of, we're not going to just keep perpetuating the mistakes of previous generations, you know, whether, you know, I think that this generation is becoming really enlightened with their health. So we're going to redefine aging and vitality. So what you can do, like run a marathon when you're 80 or 100, or, you know, be able to play soccer when you're 70. You know, I think that's what's possible with superfoods.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we go into, you know,
Yeah, do you want to jump?
some of the specific
Let's,
benefits of the mushrooms that are in here, so people can,
yeah,
because I think, you know, I've been in this industry for a while and been learning about mushrooms, but there's, you know, with 8 medicinal mushrooms in here, there's specific benefits to each of the 8. And so, you know, I don't think we need to go super duper in depth, but let's just talk about, like, I'll say a mushroom, and then you can tell me some of the specific health benefits associated with that specific mushroom. It's in the
okay.
product. How's
And
that?
then I'll ask a name and then you can tell me a little bit. We'll go back and forth, so it's interactive.
Remember, I told you I don't know much about a few of them. So,
Well, I'll start off with the ones we mentioned before. So give me one you didn't mention before.
okay, oyster mushroom. We'll start from the bottom. Oyster
Ooh,
mushroom.
okay, oyster. That's an interesting one. So oyster is culinary and medicinal. A lot of people have eaten oyster. You can get it at Whole Foods. It's a soft mushroom. It's got golden oyster, you might have heard of, blue oyster, pink oyster. It's actually one of the easiest mushrooms to grow, either indoor or outdoor, no matter where you live. So you can get oyster growing kits. Now, oyster is good for immune boosting because all mushrooms have beta glucans, but it's also good for reducing cholesterol. It's got a compound in it called a pleurotus, I believe, because the species name is Pleurotus, Pleurotus, Pleurotus austriatus, or Pleurotus pulmonarius, the Pleurotus genus. So they have compounds called pleurins, I believe. So every compound is like reishi Ganoderma is the genus, and it has ganodermic acid and other ganodermic compounds. So oyster has pleurotins, and they help lower cholesterol. They're a natural statin. So oyster does help with blood sugar. All mushrooms tend to help with lowering blood sugar. That's a huge benefit of mushrooms. Lower blood sugar, lower cholesterol, and lower blood pressure, which are things that are out of control in most people. Also boost immunity. Oyster isn't necessarily known for its athletic performance, but it's known for its immune boosting properties, and especially, Chris, it's cholesterol. You know, and I think a lot of Americans do, in general, need to look at their cholesterol. So eating more oyster is going to drop your cholesterol levels, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
there's a McDonald's around the corner, and it's always packed. And you know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Imagine if McDonald's had an oyster sandwich that was like 100%, you know, like not fried, like, you know, done right. Maybe they'd be able to, you know, I know they're coming up with like all these plant-based burgers now, but we're probably gonna see more mushroom-based products too eventually, because
I think so. I think so.
yeah,
Well, incredible answer.
they're
And
also an alternative to meat. Yeah,
yes,
mushrooms.
Yes.
They taste kind of like, and they, so yeah, thanks. Okay, so I'll send one back to you now. Let's talk about cordyceps. What's fascinating about cordyceps?
Okay. No, I do know. I'm just laughing because the words that you used in oyster were like the most high level, next level vocabulary I've ever heard.
No, stop it. I'll fill in any blanks if you want, but go ahead.
Yeah. So what I know from cordyceps is that it does help with your energy, so
Hmm.
and your vitality. And so I know a lot of runners take it because I think it boosts your lung health, if I'm not mistaken. And it actually looks, going back to how certain mushrooms that what they look like in the wild and how they help specific parts of our body. The cordyceps are like these stringy mushrooms, and they
Yep.
help with like our lung health and our energy and our vitality. So I know for cardiovascular. Um, Strength and endurance. I know
Hmm.
that cordyceps are a staple in a lot of like runners' diets.
Yep.
Uh, that's what I know about cordyceps.
Yeah, it's also good for fertility. It was used by the Chinese royalty and the Chinese herbalists and the Chinese, basically the Tibetan. It's from Tibet also, from the Himalayan mountains is where one Cordyceps sinensis is from,
Or we
but
get ours.
well, ours, we don't use wild cordyceps because wild cordyceps is not vegan. We use lab grown. This is the only example out of the 8 mushrooms, and it's actually important to say 5 of them are grown on a farm, organic farms in the mountains, outdoor on wood logs and hoop houses. 2 of them are wild crafted from the forest. Actually, 6 now are grown on a farm because turkey tail is no longer collected from the forest. Which wild crafting is great, but we now grow turkey tail in the same farms that are growing the reishi. And so the only one that's wild crafted now is chaga, which we can talk about in a second. And then cordyceps is grown now in a laboratory because, Chris, if we didn't grow it, that's the only way it can grow outside of the wild. In the wild, it comes from the brain of an invertebrate host. So it kills an invertebrate, either a spider, a wasp, an ant, or a caterpillar. Those are the 4 that it really goes after. And there's many cordyceps species in the world, but they basically Cordyceps sinensis or militaris are the 2 medicinal species out of the whole Cordyceps genus. And basically they basically kill an invertebrate, like let's say a wasp. And then they have the wasp first like latch onto a leaf, then the wasp dies, and out of its brain comes a fruiting body. And it's for humans, it boosts, it was discovered, I think, by the Chinese, and they've been using it for thousands of years for fertility. And it is the most expensive superfood in the world, more than ginseng per ounce. Wild cordyceps is the most expensive superfood in the world. And I think they could probably make some incredible drugs if they wanted to out of it. Pharmaceutical drugs, not that I want that, but basically it has compounds in it that help with fertility. And, the royalty were using them to have extra vitality. They're a national treasure of China. And to be honest, they're probably one of the most fascinating mushrooms because they help with lung function, like you mentioned, and athletes use them. But really, I think one of the biggest things is that it helps with the energy levels, like you said. It increases ATP, it oxygenates muscles, and it just really helps with fertility is what it's known for. So if anyone's trying to start a family or if their sexual function is low, this is a serious conversation. And cordyceps, along with maca, has been used for starting families and by the royalty.
Sexual
Yeah.
health. So skip the Viagra and take some
They
cordyceps.
actually call it the Viagra of the Himalayas. I don't like to get cheesy
That's
with stuff, but it's called the Viagra of the Himalayas.
that's so
So yeah. Well, let's jump forward. What other mushrooms are people curious about these days?
cool. Chaga. Chaga. I know chaga is
Okay.
really good. I don't know a ton about it, but I just know how healthy that one is.
Yeah, it's like a black charcoal looking mushroom that isn't actually it's a hard mushroom, but it doesn't it's not a true mushroom. It's called a sclerotium, which is something that grows off of a tree. It looks like tree bark that got burnt. It looks like a black charcoal growing off of a birch tree, and it only grows in northern forests. But that species of mushroom, it's in the mushroom kingdom, but again, it's not. They say it's not the same as all the rest of the mushrooms. It's like almost a rock growing off of a tree, and then you grind it down into this powder. And the Russians have been using it for thousands of years because it grows in Russia and in Canada and in Northern Europe. It will not grow in Miami. And this is another fascinating thing, Chris. You cannot farm chaga. It's impossible. The world's top experts all agree that it has to be wildcrafted, and it's abundant. It's not threatened. It's not endangered. We've had this discussion with people before. We've consulted the world's top experts like Jeff Chilton, and who's Live Ultimate's partner and has been growing mushrooms for over 30 years, I think 40 some years, and is our partner who works with the Chinese, who are our fair trade farmers, growing it as nature intended, organically in these hoop houses in the mountains. They've been doing it for thousands of years. It's the same families. Basically, chaga has to be collected from the forest, and they do it responsibly. It's called wildcrafting, which is basically collecting with ethics. And you never take more than the forest can allow. And basically, it's very plentiful in northern forests. That it grows almost everywhere, but they say it's on 1 out of every 300 birch trees. But it's a birch tree cancer. Actually, it kills the birch tree. The birch tree is in the stage of dying, but it's actually good for the ecosystem and good for the forest. It's not bad. Chaga is a natural part of the forest ecosystem. And in humans, it helps fight cancer. And we can say that. There's a lot of studies that show on PubMed, over 300 species of mushrooms have proven anti-cancer benefits, anti-tumor benefits. So 300 plus species, according to PubMed, have anti-tumor properties. That's a good way to say it. And we don't want to give any false hope or any type of FDA disclaimer. We are not intending to diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases here, but we know that they help fight tumors. So chaga is used with chemotherapy a lot. It's used also by people instead of coffee. They drink chaga tea in hot water, and it tastes just like coffee, exactly the same. I mean, a purist would be, oh, I can taste the difference, but literally, it's what it's been used by like Russians, Norwegians, some of the northern latitude cultures for a substitute for coffee, and they drink it every morning. So it's a longevity drink. It's amazing. Let's give the next mushroom, and then if you want, we can move into any other areas. One more mushroom. So you talked about lion's mane earlier. Reishi we talked about. Let's talk about shiitake. You want to mention shiitake? We can talk a little bit about that one.
Yeah, and now shiitake, I always knew of as it's like oyster in terms of people eat it if you can saute it, but
It's culinary.
the medicinal properties, I don't know anything about shiitake.
I mean, all the mushrooms are overlapping in a lot of senses, in that they contain beta-glucans. Each species has a different type of beta-glucan, is my understanding, but they all have a general beta-glucan, but then they have some other. So I was reading a little bit about this the other day, and they're doing more and more beta-glucan studies. I think it's how the beta-glucans in the mushrooms, that's the main medicinal compound, is like in hemp it's CBD or THC. In mushrooms, the big compound, the MVP of the fruiting body, is the beta-glucan, and it interacts with all these interesting other, like in CBD or in cannabis or hemp, you have terpenes, right? And in a lot of superfoods, you have enzymes and antioxidants. Well, in mushrooms, you have a full spectrum of compounds too, and they have acids. A lot of them, like so shiitake is the species name. They always name these things after the species, and I believe it's lentil. It's like lentil, Lenti. Lentiluna is something edulis or something, but it's an edible mushroom and it helps with blood sugar. So we didn't talk about that a lot, but a lot of Americans are pre-diabetic, and the mushrooms help to prevent diabetes. They also help with type 2 diabetes and type 1. We have ambassadors that have type 1 who have told us that the mushrooms are helping them not have to be as, worried about their insulin and their glucose levels. So the mushrooms support healthy, low blood sugar levels, and they lower blood pressure. So I believe that shiitake is best known for lowering blood sugar and boosting immunity when it's used in a tea or in a capsule or powder. When it's raw, it's can be cooked and used as a food. But when you hot water extract it and use secondary alcohol extractions, you can get all these. So that's another thing we didn't talk about is when you eat a raw mushroom, you can't get the beta glucans. You have to boil it. Hot water breaks down HITIN, and that they're in a different kingdom, then they're not a vegetable. Chitin can't be absorbed through the stomach unless it's gone through 3 hours of hot water boiling. So that's why when they were making these coffee, like when the Chinese were making teas, Everything's about breaking down the chitin with hot water to get the beta glucans out. No beta glucans get destroyed in the process, just like no animals are ever harmed in our products. And yeah, shiitake is an amazing mushroom. So you want to move on from mushrooms now to any other wellness topics you want to cover
Yeah.
today?
One thing I wanted to touch on that you mentioned that I think it's important for people to understand, and this is, you know, everyone has a different approach to their health, to their wellness, to what they feel is the best for their body and in the longevity of their health, right? And to me, the biggest word is preventative, especially
Mm-hmm.
at a younger age, because obviously, you know, ailments that we encounter in our lives can cause us great financial troubles later on in life, and not just financial troubles. It could be just physical troubles where you're less able to have a high quality of life and have high vitality. And I think what people, you know, should really understand is that preventative medicine is the best medicine, because by loading
Mm-hmm.
our body up with these mushrooms, with these superfoods, you know, we're less likely to encounter problems later on in our life. And so that's my approach
That's
to.
a really good point. Yeah, I mean, they do help when people go through cancer with chemotherapy. Mushrooms are known to support cancer patients during chemo. They're known to support people with high blood pressure that are pre-diabetic or obese or, you know, COVID. You can actually, they did COVID studies with Cordyceps and found it helped the lung function so much that they recommend people take, you know, if our national leaders had been talking about Cordyceps, I guarantee you it would have changed history.
Yeah.
And I do believe we actually talked about that during the whole, you know, when Trump would bring up what's it called, remdesivir and all these things. Did you know remdesivir costs like $300 for a monthly supply, or $300 even for a dose, or it's some crazy number. I was listening to a podcast the other day. Cordyceps, you know, and all these mushrooms do better things than any pharmaceutical drug could ever do because they're used for immortality. I mean, I'm going to take the immortality tonic over the prescription drug tonic every day.
100%. And you know,
Yeah.
I was watching this video about this guy in Canada, and we won't go too much into like this, but he said this funny line. He was running a gym in his backyard, and the cops wanted to shut it down because, you know, you can go buy alcohol across the street and buy candy, but you can't work out outside Canada. But he
Doesn't
goes, he
make
goes,
sense.
he goes, he goes, the government wants you fat and weak. I
Yeah.
want you fierce and strong. And that's what I would say about Live Ultimate is, you know, if we're on this call, I think we know the government does not care about our health. It's time to take our health into our own hands,
Yeah.
and Live Ultimate cares about people's health.
Oh
And,
yeah. With our skincare. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, look
Especially
at me,
everything.
look at you. Brian, you're like 120 years old, right?
I'm approaching the first century of my life being in the books. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 42, but thank you.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, let's start to pay attention as a society to who really cares about your health. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
who really wants you healthy, and who's not subsidized from government subsidies, or, you know, who I think everyone on this call should understand that, you know, this
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. It's called alternative health, but honestly, it should be mainstream health if our country was operating with integrity. The pharmaceutical industry, my mom was a pharmacist for 35 years. They pretty much own the world, unfortunately, but they won't hopefully for much longer. So what other topics do you want to cover today, Chris? Do you have any future projects coming up that you want to share? Because I know we're coming up on our last 5 minutes, and I want to make sure to get you some spotlight today.
Yeah, that's really nice of you. I mean, we definitely covered everything that I wanted to cover as far as, you know, about myself and the journey. You know, I think as far as how I share these mushrooms, you know, I'm looking into farmers markets. It's a way to interact with the community. It's a way to educate. And just to anyone on the call who's not a part of, you know, Live Ultimate, I encourage you to look into it and to continue.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions about what Live Ultimate is about, what being an ambassador means, if you want to try the products, if you're curious about any lifestyle, wellness things that you have questions about, please send Chris a direct message at Alive with Chris. Chris can get you up to speed on everything Live Ultimate, and as Chris is an ambassador, he can guide you into our network, and it will change your life. So I think we're having a little bit of connection issue, Chris, on your end. Check your Wi-Fi to see if we can get you back for a couple more minutes there.
My
We're
Oh,
coming up on 3 minutes ago. I want to ask you a quick speed question section here.
okay. Can you
We
hear
have
me?
you?
Yeah. Do you have me or no?
I
Maybe I need to
your camera's
maybe I need to be
resetting.
closer to the Wi-Fi, or maybe my girlfriend's using up all the Wi-Fi.
Uh-oh.
Am I back?
You got to let her know Wellness Wednesday takes priority on the Wi-Fi. I can hear you, but your video is spinning circles.
She's getting off the Wi-Fi
I can hear you.
for the rapid speed.
Okay.
But all right. Can you hear me or can you speak?
Yeah, we have a rapid speed question section left.
I'm ready, dude. Let's
I
do
can
it.
hear you.
You can't see me or
Okay,
what?
let's do this. Okay, what city were you born in?
Washington, D.C., the capital.
Oh, wow, Washington, D.C. I love Washington, D.C. That's where my girlfriend's dad lives, and I was there a couple months ago. That's amazing. What is your favorite superfood?
Mushrooms.
Not mushroom.
uh,
Sorry.
Klamath Lake blue-green algae because I camped on that lake.
Ooh.
Uh, I just
Wow. Okay, we didn't get to talk about Klamath Lake. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I camped on the lake and I felt the vibration of the lake. And then when I came across Live Ultimate, I noticed that you guys source from this specific lake in the United States when there's like thousands of lakes. So I'm like, that's freaking epic because it has the most, I believe, like
A blue-green algae. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and blue green just
Yeah, it's similar to spirulina. And it's got it's so pristine up there that there's it's up in the mountains. It's a lake up in the mountains, so it's never gotten any pollutants, is my understanding. And they test the water every single day that they're getting the algae from, because we've had a lot of questions about that. And they basically, it's an interesting ecosystem that creates blue-green algae that is good for basically preventative health, but also like spirulina, it can help with antioxidant support and with nutrition. That's an amazing superfood. So Lake Klamath, okay. Lake Klamath blue-green algae is Chris's favorite superfood. Let's, next question is, I do these speed questions. Oh, shout out section. Who do you want to shout out?
I mean, I want to shout out my girlfriend. She's right here. She's sleeping.
Okay, that's a good move.
But
can we see her? Can we say hi to her?
Yeah. Here she is.
Hi, Chloe.
Hello, how are you?
Great. You're lucky to have such an enlightened, health-conscious boyfriend.
I know. I'm the lucky.
You're gonna go back in age now. You're gonna go back into your teens.
Bye, Chloe.
Bye.
Bye. Let's see.
Bruce.
What other passions do you have besides wellness? What are your top 3 passions besides wellness?
Spirituality. The ocean, hiking, waterfalls.
Nice.
Hiking, spirituality, and music.
Awesome. Yeah, let's jump into the music category. So you're a DJ. What got you into music, and what type of equipment do you use, and what type of genre are you most drawn to?
Yeah, I love house music. I think it's a love language, and there's so many forms of electronic. House is even just one genre. Just electronic in general really feeds my soul. There's so many layers to it, and so many different types of electronic music. So that's what I like to DJ, and I started doing that back like 6 years ago in college. And I would do galleries. I did weddings where like you're not going to play like Skrillex at weddings, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe my wedding, but not like, so I started doing that, and then I got to do like some music festivals as well, where I got to do like the campgrounds, and I got to kind of be a part of some just different events, and it's just kind of evolved. And ecstatic dance is something I'm really interested in doing, and having people, this is a time to plug perhaps a future music festival that Live Ultimate does. You're a DJ, I'm a DJ. Spinning house music for people on the beach and drinking mushrooms is like a dream. And I feel like we can do that here in the near future. So
let's do it. Yeah, let's do it for sure.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. We are going to have some upcoming retreats and wellness festivals in late 2021 in Miami. So, and also let's do something over in Sarasota. So let's definitely talk about that. Chris is putting together some events where we can educate people and give them amazing music. What type of equipment do you use?
So I have I have like an all-in-one Pioneer controller, and then
Okay.
Rocket speakers, and I have like PAs. So I got a nice little system. You plug me on the sound box so that I can go to the beach and use that Bluetooth sound, like get concert level sound. Because it's all about the access to the electricity is like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's, you want to just doing it in like the mountains or on the beach. Obviously, it's a little bit harder, but things like that, I want to start getting into as far as my speaker system and having it be more remote and transportable. So Soundbox, ever since you sent me, I get like a notification every day because Instagram. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're like Soundbox is like all over my Instagram these days.
Yeah,
So
it's like a hurricane-proof battery-powered giant speaker. I've
yeah.
had friends take them to festivals. Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're also very expensive, but well, that's really cool. Let's talk about skincare. We didn't talk about skincare. We got 2 minutes left. What is your feeling on skincare?
Well, ever since I think that it was the women in my life that really started to tell me about how you take care of your skin and how it doesn't have to be such a feminine thing, that men should take care of their skin and men should care about their skin because, why would you want wrinkles? It's like when I was in wrestling and the guys would like, they'd brag about the fact that they had cauliflower ear. And I'm like, sick, bro. So you're not gonna be able to put in an earbud in your ears anymore?
Yeah,
And you're gonna look like, oh, dude, I'm tough, dude. So
yeah,
it's like
that's
this,
terrible.
like, we don't need to look tough. We don't need to have wrinkles. Like,
No,
we need to be looking good, and the men need to start to take care of their skin. And so I just realized the importance of like a face wash. It's like a really three-step process: the face wash, the serum, and then a moisturizer. And and our
it's
moisturizer
so simple. Yeah,
is natural SPF. So when you're out in the sun, if you don't want to cake on some of those like toxic sunscreens, you're getting some protection with the Live Ultimate moisturizer, which is really.
absolutely.
So having those three-step processes, and then you mentioned one of Live Ultimate's most powerful products is that peptide eye treatment. So, I have wrinkles like right here, so putting it like there on my eyes can really help to prevent wrinkles later on in life, and then that way, you're like Chloe's grandpa, age 93, and you're still crushing it, and
Yeah,
still looking good. You still got good skin. So it's important, just like preventative. We start the younger in our lives so that we don't encounter these issues later
yep,
on.
absolutely. Yeah, men are getting more involved in beauty now, and EWG is leading the way. We're proud to be a big partner, environmental working group. We call them the toxicity police. So yeah, I think reading your labels is what we're all about. And I know you mentioned that earlier. If you don't understand an ingredient, definitely go research it, but it's probably a flag that maybe shouldn't be using it. And we should go back to plant-based ingredients, which Live Ultimate's 100% plant-based. So really cool. I'm glad we got to talk skincare. Well, Chris, I think we're running up against the end of the hour right now. So I want to have you close and share something with us that we can take into the rest of our Wellness Wednesday. And thank you for being here today. How would you like to sign off?
Well, I just want to thank everyone for being a part of this call, and I know a couple people like just joined, and so this live is going to be on my profile, and I believe it'll be on Live Ultimate's profile for not just 24 hours, right? I think I can permanently. It's
Yeah,
recorded. Yeah. So just to let everyone know that if you want to learn, anyone that joined at different parts of this call, we cover a gamut of everything from mushrooms to the specific benefits to what to look for in a mushroom product to just genuine connection about my journey. If you want to know more about who I am, because I see Catch Up with Kate joined, and Kate I ran into. I just want to give a shout out to her because
absolutely.
she's 5 months pregnant, and I met her on a beach in Sarasota while she was on vacation, and she gave me these floaties, and we got to float in the ocean and just enjoy the healing powers of the ocean. And just want to give a shout out to her because I see her on the call.
Shout out to Catching Up with Kate. Catch Up with Kate.
So
Awesome.
just to have everyone, if they want to learn about any of this stuff, my journey, mushrooms, and just get to know Live Ultimate a little bit more, how you can be involved, you can message me, and then also this 1 hour call will be on my Instagram and Live Ultimates for the next 24 hours and mine permanently. So if
Yeah.
you're interested, I know it's a long one. We all got lots of things to do, but I think you're amazing, Bryan, and
Thank you.
so I just, encourage everyone to keep following along on the journey and continue to take care of themselves. And, I just recommend you use Live Ultimate as your vehicle to wellness because it's changed my life and so many others.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's been incredible today. I remember when you came into the office about 2 months ago, and it felt like I was going to lunch with my brother, who I've been hanging out with for the last 20 years. We all align so much. We both align in the company on so many things. And it's been amazing to have you join us and get to know you today. So we'll catch up again in a couple months. I'd like to have everyone come back and continually give us new wellness. And we will definitely have you back in a couple months. So thanks for being the guest today. And I'll send you a link with the recording very soon. Thanks everyone for joining us. As Chris said, preventative health is everything. So it's never too late. It's never too early. It's always the right time. And Wellness Wednesday is a really great day to be mindful and circle back on thinking about your health and not thinking that you're just going to be invincible by eating pizza forever. I see that the fit pizza girl joined us, so I had to throw the pizza reference in there. But love it, Chris. Well, yeah, thank you for being here today. And
Much
let's
love.
do a Live Ultimate connection soon from Sarasota with Alive with Chris to Miami Beach with Live Ultimate. Let's do it.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much, Bryan. Talk to you
All
soon.
right. Have a great day. Happy Wellness Wednesday, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Bye.